Welcome to English Language Academy. The Talking Parrot, a funny English story. Chapter 1, The New Pet. Once upon a time, in a small, quiet town, there lived a man named Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown loved animals. He had a dog named Max, a cat named Lucy, and now he wanted a parrot. One sunny morning, he went to the pet shop. The pet shop was full of colorful birds, but one bird caught Mr. Brown's eye. It was a green parrot with shiny feathers. The parrot tilted its head and looked at him. To Mr. Brown's surprise, the parrot said, "Hello, Mr. Brown." Mr. Brown laughed. "I'll take this one," he said to the shopkeeper. "Good choice," said the shopkeeper. "This is a special parrot. It can talk." Mr. Brown brought the parrot home and named it Charlie. Max and Lucy looked curious. They sniffed at Charlie's cage, but Charlie didn't mind. "Hello, Max." "Hello, Lucy," Charlie said. The dog and cat jumped back in surprise. Mr. Brown laughed so hard his belly shook. Chapter 2, Charlie Learns More Words. Charlie was a clever parrot. Every day Mr. Brown taught him new words. Soon Charlie could say things like, "Good morning, how are you?" and "What's for dinner?" But Charlie also had a naughty side. He loved to tease Max and Lucy. "Max is a silly dog," Charlie would say. Max would bark, and Charlie would laugh. Then Charlie would tease Lucy. "Lazy Lucy, sleepy cat." Lucy would meow and swish her tail. Charlie found it all very funny. One day, Mr. Brown invited his neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Green, for tea. Charlie was excited to meet them. When they arrived, Charlie shouted, "Welcome, green beans." Mr. and Mrs. Green laughed, but Mr. Brown turned red. "Charlie, behave yourself," he said. Chapter 3, The Parrot's Secret. One evening, Mr. Brown came home late. He was very tired and forgot to lock Charlie's cage. In the middle of the night, Charlie flew out of the cage and into the kitchen. There he found a jar of cookies. The next morning, Mr. Brown saw crumbs everywhere. "Who ate the cookies?" he asked. Max and Lucy looked innocent, but Charlie shouted, "It was me! It was me!" Mr. Brown couldn't believe his ears. "You naughty bird," he said, but he couldn't stay mad at Charlie for long. Chapter 4, Charlie Saves the Day. One day, while Mr. Brown was at work, a stranger came to the house. The stranger tried to open the window. Charlie saw this and started shouting, "Help! Help! Go away!" The stranger was startled. "Who's there?" he asked. "Police! Police!" Charlie shouted. The stranger panicked and ran away. When Mr. Brown came home, the neighbors told him what happened. "Your parrot is a hero," they said. Mr. Brown gave Charlie a big hug. "You're the best parrot in the world," he said. Chapter 5, Charlie's Birthday. A year passed, and it was time to celebrate Charlie's birthday. Mr. Brown threw a big party. Max and Lucy were there, and so were the neighbors. Mr. Brown made a special cake with seeds and nuts for Charlie. "Happy birthday, Charlie," everyone said. Charlie flapped his wings and shouted, "Thank you, everyone. Let's party." The party was full of laughter and fun. Charlie told jokes, sang songs, and even danced. Everyone agreed it was the best party they had ever been to. Chapter 6, The Talking Parrot Show. After the birthday party, Mr. Brown had an idea. "Charlie, you're so funny. Let's start a show," he said. Charlie loved the idea. Mr. Brown built a small stage in the garden. Every weekend, people came to watch the Talking Parrot Show. Charlie told funny stories, sang songs, and made everyone laugh. The show became famous, and Charlie was the star. People from other towns came to see him. Charlie loved the attention and always gave his best performance. Chapter 7, A Lesson in Kindness. One day, a little boy named Tim came to see the show. Tim was shy and didn't talk much. After the show, he stayed behind to meet Charlie. "Hello, Tim," Charlie said. Tim's eyes lit up. "Hello, Charlie," he whispered. Charlie started telling Tim jokes and funny stories. Tim laughed and started talking more. Mr. Brown noticed this and said, "Charlie, you have a special gift. You make people happy." From that day on, Charlie spent time with Tim whenever he visited. Tim became more confident, and his parents were very grateful. Chapter 8. The Big Adventure. One summer, Mr. Brown decided to take Charlie, Max, and Lucy on a trip to the countryside. They stayed in a small cottage near a lake. Charlie loved the fresh air and the sound of the birds. One morning, Charlie saw a squirrel stealing nuts from the picnic basket. "Hey, thief!" Charlie shouted. The squirrel froze, dropped the nuts, and ran away. Max barked, and Lucy chased the squirrel up a tree. Mr. Brown laughed and said, "Charlie, you're the best guard parrot." Chapter 9. The farewell years passed, and Charlie grew older. He still loved to talk and make people laugh, but he also enjoyed quiet times with Mr. Brown. One day, Charlie said, "Thank you, Mr. Brown, for a wonderful life." Mr. Brown smiled and said, "Thank you, Charlie, for being my friend." Charlie's story became a legend in the town. People remembered him as the parrot who could talk, laugh, and make everyone happy. Even after Charlie was gone, his stories and laughter lived on in everyone's hearts. The end. Thanks for watching English Language Academy. Subscribe now.